Good morning, social media. This is Rich again, back for your first video blog of the day for Thursday, March 19th, 2015, around 6:57 in the morning in Belleville, Massachusetts. It's going to be a cold day out, but sunshine. Highs about 35 degrees. Some news to report. The Oklahoma City Thunder beat the Boston Celtics by the score of 122-118. Robert Morris and Dayton won the first 4 games for the NCAA men's basketball tournament. Today starts the second round of the NCAA men's basketball tournament, which starts at noon on CBS, TNT, TBS, and True TV. Hosting it from New York will be Greg Gumbel and Ernie Johnson, and from Atlanta, Matt Weiner. And that's about it on the news. And my first video subject today is my review of WrestleMania 6, the granddaddy of them all pay-per-views. WrestleMania 6 was held in Toronto, Canada at the Sky Dome. It's now known as Rogers Center. It was the first time that WrestleMania went north of the border into Canada. And Toronto's going to be the only place that hosts WrestleMania to date, because they also hosted WrestleMania 18. Canada has not hosted WrestleMania at all in other cities like Montreal or Vancouver. It might be impossible to host them in Montreal because Olympic Stadium's antiquated, and I don't know if BC Stadium in Vancouver could host a WrestleMania, but you never know. And they're not going to go to the outdoor stadiums in Canada for WrestleMania because it's just too cold in March and April. And WrestleMania 6 was the main event, was title for title, the Ultimate Challenge. It was WWE Intercontinental Champion, The Ultimate Warrior, against WWE Champion Hulk Hogan, title for title. Both of them were faces, plus they had other great matches on this card. Calling the action for WrestleMania 6 was Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse the Body Ventura. It was the last time that Jesse Ventura would do a WWE pay-per-view, because in August of that year, Jesse would leave the WWE and become mayor of Brooklyn Park, Minnesota in November. And they had celebrities at this WrestleMania. They had Robert Goulet sing "Oh Canada," and they also had some skits with Steve Allen, actor-comedian, with the Bolsheviks, Nikolai Volkov and Boris Zukov, and they had gossip columnist Rona Bella talk with Miss Elizabeth why she disappeared from the WWE the year before. Plus, in attendance, they had actress Mary Tyler Moore and future WWE Hall of Famer Edge, and future WWE superstar Christian, and future WWE superstar Lance Storm, and future WWE announcer Renee Young were in attendance to watch WrestleMania 6. And here's the card. There was a dark match. This match was not shown on the pay-per-view. It was Paul Roma beating the Brooklyn Brawler. That was the dark match. Nothing spectacular about that. And then here's the matches that aired at the WrestleMania 6 card, which is 14 matches. And some people would criticize why the 14 matches at WrestleMania, but they had to get everybody on the roster of significance on here just to get a WrestleMania payday, but this made the WrestleManias too long in my opinion. First match was Rick the Model Martel against Coco Beware. This was a squash by Martel. He beat Coco in about 4 minutes with the Boston Crab. They should have had the blow-off between Rick Martel and Tito Santana at WrestleMania 6. But it never happened. The second match was for the WWE World Tag Team titles. It was the Colossal Connection, Andre the Giant and Haku, with Bobby the Brain Heenan against Demolition Axe and Smash. And it was for the titles. Back and forth match. Haku accidentally gives a thresher kick to Andre the Giant, putting him on the ropes. Demolition takes advantage of that, delivers a finishing maneuver, Axe pins Haku. 1, 2, 3. Demolition first wins the tag team title for the 3rd time. Bobby the Brain Heenan gets matched, slaps Andre the Giant. Andre the Giant grabs Heenan and Haku attacks him, but Andre attacks Haku. Andre turns face, and he got a big reaction from the crowd. The next match was Earthquake with Jimmy Hart the Mouth of the South against Hercules. This was another squash match. Earthquake beat Hercules with the Earthquake sit-down splash. Oh, God, this was just to build Earthquake as a monster heel. All it was. The next match, it was Brutus Barber Beefcake against Mr. Perfect with the genius Lanny Poffo in Perfect's corner. This was building up from Royal Rumble 1990 when there was a match between Beefcake and the Genius, and Mr. Perfect interfered in that match, and they were building this up. It was a great match. Mr. Perfect lost his first televised match when Beefcake beat him 1-2-3. This was a great match, and it was awesome. I think they were building something up for Beefcake and Perfect later on in the year for SummerSlam 90, but you know what happened in July 4th, 1990. Brutus Barber Beefcake got in a parasailing accident to smash his face. He wasn't the same in the ring ever since. The next match was a grudge match between Rowdy Piper and Bad News Brown. This started in like Royal Rumble 1990 when Piper and Bad News eliminated each other. They were fighting all over the place. And then in the promos before this match, Rowdy Piper dresses half black and half white. Something a little bit racist. But, you know, this was getting, you know, just a storyline. And Piper and Bad News Brown has about a 6-7 minute match. It was a double count out. And it was, you know, a fairly good brawl. But, you know, they stopped feuding after that. The next match was the Bolsheviks, Nikolai Volkov and Boris Zukov against the Hart Foundation. It was Bret the Hitman Hart and Jim the Anvil Neidhart. This match was a total squash. 19 seconds. They used a heart attack on Boris Zukov, the Hart Foundation, and pinned him 1, 2, 3. That's it. 19 seconds. This was an awful match. The next match was the Barbarian with Bobby the Brain Heenan in his corner. The Barbarian's contract was sold from from Mr. Fuji to Bobby the Brain Heenan, while the Warlord's contract was sold from Mr. Fuji to Slick. They were the Powers of Pain, but they broke up. And Barbarian wrestles Tito Santana in this match. It was another squash match. It was just a few minutes, but you know, these WrestleManias had a lot of, like, you know, filler and stuff. That's what it brought the card down a little bit, in my opinion. Then it was the mixed tag team match between Macho King Randy Savage and Sensational Queen Sherry against the American Dream Dusty Rhodes and his sweet Sapphire. And in their corner was the First Lady of Professional Wrestling, Miss Elizabeth, making her triumphant return to the WWE after being off of television for a while. This mixed tag team match was actually surprisingly good. Sapphire showed pretty good skills for a lady who was in the mid-50s against a great wrestler in Sherry Martel, which Sherry was basically a manager at this point, but, you know, this was a great match, and you get Savage and Dusty Rhodes wrestling. They were pretty good, and they had the Miss Elizabeth interfere, like, cost Sherry the match, and it was 1, 2, 3 Sapphire. I loved this match. This was probably a surprisingly great match. The next match was a tag team match. It was the Orient Express, Pat Tanaka and Aikato Saito with Mr. Fuji as their manager against the Rockers, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. And this was a decent tag team match. The Orient Express wins this match by countout. Well, it wasn't a good finish, but you know what it is. The next match was Hacksaw Jim Duggan facing off against Dino Bravo with Jimmy the Mouth of the South in his corner, and also Earthquake in his corner. And Hacksaw Jim Duggan got booed out of the building because he carried the American flag and it was in Canada. Duggan wins this match, but then afterwards he gets attacked by the Earthquake, and you know, it was just something for filler and stuff like that. Then I think they have a skit where they have Rhythm and Blues, who were the Honky Tonk Man, and Greg the Hammer Valentine. They were driving in with a pink Cadillac, and actually driving the car was future WCW World Champion Diamond Dallas Page, but it was not acknowledged on television. It was Diamond Dallas Page, and and Rhythm and Blues were thanking the crowd for saying they got a gold record and stuff. And then coming out of the ring was the Bushwhackers. Whoa, yeah, and attacked them and stuff like that. It was just a skit and stuff because of Rhythm and Blues attacked the Bushwhackers like several months early on WWE Superstars and stuff like that. I'm very surprised that Rhythm and Blues and the Bushwhackers did not have a match at WrestleMania 6. They could have cut a couple of matches, but I think maybe they didn't want to and stuff like that. But this was probably a comedy skit. And then the next match was for the $1 Million Championship. It was Jake the Snake Roberts who stole the $1 Million Championship from the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. He had it in his snake, the bag where he carries Damien the Snake, against the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, with Virgil. This was a classic, great match by the Snake and DiBiase. They had a year-long feud, which was, surprisingly good. The $1 Million Man won this match by count-out, and he gets the $1 Million Championship back. That's his belt. And that's the $1 Million Man's belt. He should have never lost it, in my opinion. He should have been $1 Million Champion for life. And then the next match was the Big Boss Man, who recently turned face, going against his former tag team partner in the Twin Towers, the African Dream Akeem, with Slick in his corner, his manager. And the Big Boss Man survived interference by the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, who hid under the ring after that match because it was the next match on the card. He hid under the ring, and he attacked the Big Boss Man from the start, but the Big Boss Man overcame that and squashed Akeem in about 2 minutes. This was just to blow this match was just to blow off that little feud they had, Akeem and the Big Boss Man. But that should have not been on the pay-per-view. The next match was Ravishing Rick Rude with Bobby the Brain Heenan, his manager, against Superfly Jimmy Snuka. This match was kind of a total squash match. Ravishing Rick Rude beat Superfly Jimmy Snuka in about 4 minutes or so. Superfly was basically, when he came back to WWE in 1989, he was not quite the same. He was just basically cleared job to the stars. This was just fluff, this match. And the last match was title for title. It was WWE Intercontinental Champion, the Ultimate Warrior, against WWE World Champion Hulk Hogan, title for title. Both wrestlers were faces. The crowd was hot for this match. So much excitement, they didn't know who to boo for. Both were faces. This match was probably one of the best matches the Warriors ever wrestled and Hogan's ever wrestled, back and forth and stuff, over 20 minutes. Hogan delivered the leg drop to the Ultimate Warrior. 1, 2, but the Warrior kicks out. Warrior beats twice to power slam Hogan, but Hogan kicks out, stuff like that. Eventually the Warrior pins Hogan for the 1, 2, 3 in an over 20-minute match. Warrior's the new WWE Champion, and he also is the Intercontinental Champion. And Hogan takes the belt and passes the belt to him, and kind of passes the torch to the Ultimate Warrior. They said the Ultimate Warrior was supposed to take the WWE into the 90s as the next long-reigning champion, but history shows that Warrior flopped this champion. And this was probably the best main event at WrestleMania up to date. And I'm giving this WrestleMania 8 out of 10 stars, mainly because of the Warrior and Hogan match, plus other solid matches like Brutus the Barber Beefcake beating Mr. Perfect, first pinfall lost by Perfect on television, the tag team title match with Demolition against the Colossal Connection and Andre the Giant turning face, also the surprise return of Miss Elizabeth, and the Piper and Bad News Brown match and stuff like that. The rest of the card was kind of filler and stuff. And when several WrestleManias between WrestleMania 3 and 7, it it was too many matches, which a lot of them should have been consolidated or eliminated, and could have had a little longer WrestleMania. Most of these matches for these WrestleManias average between maybe 4 to 8 minutes, which, you know, they had to get everybody on the card, and just for a payday and stuff like that. I don't blame them and stuff like that, but I would have loved to see, in my opinion, Rick Martel against Tito Santana at WrestleMania 6 to blow off the feud with Strikeforce. They never had a blow off feud with the feud they had. But, you know, the WWE, they do some strange stuff. And tomorrow, I'm going to review 2 WrestleManias. WrestleMania 7, Stars and Stripes Forever at LA Memorial Coliseum Sports Arena. It was really supposed to be in the LA Memorial Coliseum, but I'll tell you the story why that never happened. And WrestleMania 8 from the RCA Dome in Indianapolis, Indiana, a double main event. And later on today, 2 more video blogs. They will be about Guy Lafleur and Tim Raines. Have a good day, everybody. Bye now.